Connie Radar has come a long way from her cult comic book beginnings. The creation of Kiwi artist Carl Wills, Connie is the heroine of her own short film, and now she's off to COMICON. Over the Moon has been selected for showing at the enormous COMICON International Independent Film Festival. Director James Cunningham shot the short with his Media Design School animation students, and he entered the film against stiff competition.
It looked like there were about 40 or so short films in the program, and I'm not sure how many of us would have been presented. Usually at these festivals, for something like this, it's usually 500 to 1,000. But the amount of people who are sending and creating short films and sending them to festivals these days, the numbers are just huge.
So why do you think Over the Moon and Connie Radar slipped through and managed to get selected? Obviously, it's excellent. But what do you think it was that made it distinctive?
Well, it is based off a comic book series by a local New Zealand artist, Carl Wills. So it has a comic theme running in terms of an adaptation. And yeah, Carl's actually the writer of the script for the piece. So that was certainly when I stumbled across. I mean, I didn't know that COMICON had a film festival, and I said, oh wow, we should definitely send it off to that one. That'd be great. It felt like a really good fit in terms of the tone of the film, and that it came from a comic book background. It felt like, you send these things off and the hope that they'll get in, and they said yes, so that was good.
Give me, once again, I mean, COMICON is a big deal, isn't it? How many people are going to be there each day?
Apparently they have a capacity of 130,000 per day, which is massive. I think it's double the size of Armageddon, I think, so that's it's going to be immense.
And that's 130,000 a day, 4 days.
Yes.
A lot of people, yeah. And you're going?
I am, yes, I am going.
Very
I'm very much looking forward to it. I've been asked, the dean here at the school, she's like, you're going to get dressed up, right? And I was like, no, I'm not going to get dressed up. She's a big Star Wars fan. She would probably like me to dress up as a Wookiee or something, but I'm not that person.
Tell me who Connie Radar is and why she's over the moon. You say it's based on a comic strip. What's the story you're telling in the movie?
Well, the character of Connie Radar, she is a super brainy scientist, and she has this robot Julius. It's kind of their backstory is they're kind of like an old married couple. They've been together for a long time. In fact, she's in Carl's world. She's actually a couple of 100 years old. She developed this sort of eternal life serum. And in fact, when she first tested it out, she killed her assistant and then reanimated him as this robot, Julius. So there's this sort of back history to their relationship. But the character of Connie has been... I was really drawn to this really strong female character who was if anything, her superpower is her intelligence. And she was a lot of fun to work with. And then that's certainly the tone or the theme of it has been, putting this scientist superhero, putting her up against these iconic male characters, and her giving them a bit of a challenge. It was, definitely wanted to make a story with a strong female lead. I was sort of, we've made a few short films here at the school over the years, and I was like, they're feeling a little bit one note. We need to make things a little more, spice things up a bit with a bit more variety in terms of our characters. So I was looking around for different characters and different books around, and Connie Radar sort of stuck out as being a really, really interesting character.
And it's in 3D animation, isn't it, which is also what you teach?
Well, it's a mix, actually. It's mostly live action, but we have some CGI in it. So it's more think of it as more of a visual effects film. So in terms of like Lord of the Rings and all those sorts of films where there are live action actors against green screen, and then, so for example, Connie, the interior of her spaceship, we did not have the money to build a spaceship, but we did have the money for a green screen, and we have all this work that the students are doing. They can basically build and design and build a spaceship, and then we put that in behind the actor.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I watched the trailer and went, it's live action with CG. Oh, hang on, no, it says animation here. What are we looking at?
So the robot, the big robot Julius, he's like 7 foot tall, big metal robot. He's obviously fully animated, but he was animated over the top of a live action actor. We had Callum Gittins and so he did the voice, and we animated over the top of that actor. There are also scenes where we have our astronauts, the antagonists of the film, on the surface of the moon, and again, we couldn't afford to get really, really good spacesuits. We also couldn't afford to kind of get that sort of low gravity feel, but we could do CGI spacesuits. So we ended up filming our actors, just keeping the head and building and animating an entirely CGI spacesuit around the actors. It's basically a very similar process to what they just used last year on Gravity. Very similar thing where they kept like George Clooney's face and they put it into the CGI suits.
This is a lot of work by a lot of people over a long period of time, isn't it?
Yeah, we worked about 10 months on this. Talking of Gravity, because we were about halfway through production when the trailers for Gravity came out. And I was like, oh no, someone else is doing space astronauts. And they just raised the bar. So we had to work very hard to kind of get these looking up to that new level.
So this is part of the teaching process, making this film?
Yes, the course that we do here, Bachelor of Art and Design, the area that I'm focused in is sort of animation and visual effects for the film industry. That's very much a team industry. You're always working in groups to achieve these incredible results. And so we have in our third year, a big part of the third year is this big team production projects. And so that's how we kind of design the course around teaching the students what it's like to be in production, and they learning from that production process. We don't really do internships where we send the students out. Instead, we try and bring that industry experience into the school.
What's the work prospects for people graduating from this course?
Quite good. Yeah, there's certainly here in New Zealand, there is a fairly healthy commercials and TV production going on. It's recovering at the moment. Last year was not a very good year. The industry took a bit of a hammering, but on the film industry side, we have probably the best visual effects house in the world right here in New Zealand with Weta. So, and they do have a fairly pro New Zealand hiring approach with their entry level positions. So every year they have a intake of about 20 or 30 junior positions, and quite a few other students manage to secure those jobs, and that's their first sort of footing into that industry.
Director and tutor James Cunningham. Over the Moon can also be seen at the upcoming New Zealand International